The reason why many of us have not been able to enter into the kind of abundance that God has in store for us is because we are in the kingdom, but we want to operate Babylon principles in the kingdom. And then we are not in the kingdom fully. Babylon too does not know us, so we are lost in transit. Listen and listen well. Are you ready for this? Kingdom wealth is not acquired. Kingdom wealth is entrusted. In the Babylon system, you acquire wealth. In the kingdom system, wealth is entrusted to you based on your faithfulness to covenant practices. So what people labor for in Babylon, you are favored with in the kingdom. What people labor to get in Babylon, favor brings it to you in the covenants. But because we don't understand, we will rather labor and labor so that we can say our labor has brought it, instead of labor in the covenant so that God can bring it. So in the kingdom, kingdom wealth is not acquired. Kingdom wealth is what? It is entrusted. God must trust you before he can empower and equip you with wealth. And that makes every one of us a steward of the resources of God. Now I'm going deeper, step by step. Now listen. Are you sure you are ready? Are you sure? When we say freedom from mammon, what is mammon? Listen, please, listen. In this church, we have an overseer. We have a resident pastor. We have different departments. And different departments have different coordinators. And all the coordinators answer to a line or a reporting line. And then all through, we keep going until we get to the overseer. The overseer himself had to bow to the real overseer, which is God in heaven. So in the kingdom of God, there are different sets of people. In a local church, there are different departments, different leaders, but there is a line of authority. So what is mammon? Now, in the satanic world, listen. In the satanic world, there are 10 major departments in the satanic world. Now, just as you have the accounts department of this church, or the finance director or finance controller of this church, when it comes to the satanic world, the governing council of the economics of Babylon is what we call the financial system of the devil. Now, the president, the coordinator, the spirit that governs that area is what we call Mammon. So Mammon is the chief financial controller of Babylon resources. Mammon is the spirit that rules over the economic systems of the world. That is who the devil has put in charge. And let me tell you something, whosoever controls the money controls every other thing. And that's why it is very powerful. You see, when you look at the plagues, you know what happened in Egypt? How that God brought 10 plagues? When you study your Bible very well, you will realize that those 10 plagues were directly against the 10 gods of Egypt. Each of those plagues was attacking one god. Each of those plagues was attacking one god. And one of the gods that was dealt with there is Beelzebub, the lord of the flies, that talks about witchcraft. One of the gods that was dealt with there is Mammon, the god of productivity and the god of commerce. So when we talk about Mammon, you need to understand that many of the decisions you have made, many of the things you are doing, it's not you. Something is trying to manipulate you to keep you in the kingdom, claiming to be a Christian, yes, cause you to operate like the world so that you can be frustrated. And if you are honest with yourself, many of you are frustrated. Why? Because you have done many things that did not produce, because you cannot mix two together. You can't serve God and Mammon. It's not possible. You have to choose one. Now let me go deeper. Everyone sitting down here, you are tripartite in nature. You are a spirit. You have a soul. And you live in a body. Money, Mammon, is a spirit. So money is also tripartite in nature. Now, what do I mean by that? There are two dimensions to the trinity of money. Dimension number one. Money has a past. Money has a present. Money has a future. Dimension number two. Money is a spirit. Money has a soul. Money lives in a body. So let me deal with dimension number one. When you work and labor, the very minute you work and labor, what do they give you? They give you money. So let's say you work now, and after working, somebody pays you maybe 50,000. So somebody say, okay, this is your salary, 50,000. Or you have done a job, this is your money, 50,000. Now, when you collect that 50,000, listen, that 50,000 you have collected, inside that 50,000, there is a past, there is a present, there is a future. Inside that 50,000, there is a past to pay for the things you have already used. Because see, as you are collecting that money, there are things you have been using that you have not paid for that you will pay for now. So that's the past. There is a present of that money to pay for things you need to begin to pay for from now onward. So you need to continue to transport yourself to work, buy a recharge card. But there is also a future of that money. And that is to save and to secure the future so that there can be a future. Listen and listen well. There is nothing called future. There is nothing called tomorrow. Today is the tomorrow you spoke about yesterday. So there is really nothing called a future, because if you don't create a future, you don't have a future. Many of you have been in church for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And now, when you come to church every year, what do we tell you? I'm here to let you know this is your year. Your future is bright. By the end of this year, somebody here will have... We have been telling you that for 20 years. But many of you, nothing has changed in your life. You know why? After we have said that, there are practical things you must do to make it happen. Thank God we are in a prophetic church. Prophecies don't fulfill themselves. After you receive a prophetic word, there are things you must do. Number one, you believe the prophet. Number two, you believe the prophecy. Number three, you pray the prophecy. Number four, you respond to the prophecy. There are things you do for prophecy to come to pass. So if you sit down and say, they have told me I'm a millionaire, and you sit in your house doing nothing, going nowhere, you will end up poor. So for every money, there is a what? A past, there is a present, and there is a future. So if you carry that money now and you finish it with present, the debtors of yesterday will come calling for their rent and you'll be homeless. The school fees that your children have been going to school, they will come calling and your children will be schoolless. If you carry that money and you settle yesterday alone without settling today, you will be borrowing money now to go to work, waiting for the next salary. If you don't save money for the future and secure your future, when you enter the future, it will be a vacant land. Are you getting what I'm saying now? I'm taking you deeper, step by step. Level 2. Money is a spirit. Money has a soul. Money lives in a body. Now, when you go to work and you collect the same 50,000, so you have worked now, you have collected the 50,000. You see, the day they give you that 50,000, what they have handed over to you is the body of money. Are you getting me now? I was about to start preaching when the Holy Spirit said, no, don't preach, teach, so that you can explain. Now, this is the body of money. What you have here, this is not money, it's just the body. So when I give you the body now, listen, this body has a soul, but the real money is a spirit. That is the mammon itself. So money is a spirit. Money has a soul. Money lives in a body. Many of the transactions we do it with the body of money. But it is really the spirit that controls money. So what happens is when you collect this money from my hand now, if I am an occultic person, I can do something on this money and give you the physical paper, and you will not be able to do anything meaningful with it. So even though you have the paper, because I understand the spirit of money, I determine from the realm of the spirit what the body will do. Because your spirit determines what your body does. You decided what to wear. You decided which route to take to church. You even decided whether to come to church or not to come to church. So your body responded to your spirit. It is the spirit that controls the physical. So I can give you the body of money and yet control that body from the realm of the spirit. Because the real money is the spirit. Now, so papers that you have, currencies that you have, that's the body of money. The soul of money is the value that that money has in the market. That's the soul of money. So what 50,000 can buy 3 years ago it can no more buy now. So many of you are sitting down here right now, your salary has not changed for the past 4 years. But you can now know that what your salary could buy 4 years ago, it can no more buy it. Why? Because the value, the soul of money has changed. The value. So paper is the body. The value that that money has in the market is the soul. The spirit that controls the money is the spirit. That is mammon. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So when I'm telling you to be free from mammon, I want to show you how it operates, so that you will understand why you are finishing yourself. Because God knows what he's doing, but you don't know what God is doing. Hello? Are you getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Now you see, the level of unfaithfulness in the world today is a revelation of the success of the spirit of mammon in controlling the lives of people. Money is a bad master, but a good servant. And the very minute you put money in a master position, money will mess up your life. But the very minute you understand that money is a bad master but a good servant, you will position yourself in a place where instead of being controlled by money, you'll be the one controlling money. Now, let's go deeper. One major area that God has organized to put money under you is what we call tithes. Somebody say tithes. Now, I want to spend more time now on this tithing and take us into the realm of the spirit to help us understand some things. Now, listen. Please listen. When you look at the whole world, we have 7 billion people on the face of the earth. Over 7 billion people. So, let me take you on a journey. So, we have the earth. Talking about the landmass. Someone said the earth. Then on the other side, we have over 7 billion people. Now listen, these over 7 billion people are all living in the earth. So what did God do? He took a tithe of the earth and made it a nation that belongs to him. So from the tithe of the earth comes forth a nation. And the nation is called what? Israel. Not because God hates every other person, but he said, look, I have to have a tithe. I've got to have 10% to myself so that I can redeem the remaining 90. So it takes a whole nation called Israel to represent all nations. So out of over 7 billion people, the very minute it takes the nation of Israel, he has removed the Jews from all others. So the Jews become a tithe of the entire human race. That's why people study Jerusalem and Jews. They study Israel, because as goes Israel, so goes the nation. So now listen, out of Israel, he now looks again and says, I need a tithe of Israel. So out of the tithe of Israel, what does he do? He chooses Jerusalem. The very minute he chooses Jerusalem, it means that Jerusalem becomes the center of all the activities of the earth. The very minute he chooses Jerusalem, out of the Jews comes the Levites. So the Levites become the tithes of the entire Jewish nation. Are you getting me now? Now, so out of Jerusalem, he chooses another place that becomes a tithe of his operation, the tabernacle. So he chooses the tabernacle as the place where everybody in the whole world must come to bow at the tabernacle, where the holiest of holies is. So the very minute the tabernacle was built, out of the human race, he picks from the Levite and he picks a priest and an high priest. Once every year, the high priest, that is the tithe of humanity, must go into the holiest of holies, that is the tithe of humanity. And that's why every time, once in a year, the high priest must enter the holiest of all. Because until the high priest enters the holiest of all, every human race is in trouble. Are you getting something now? So what will happen is, when the high priest is going into the holiest of all, they tie a rope around his waist. Because if he goes there unclean and dies there, Nobody can go and bring you out. They have to pull out his dead body.